All right, this is, of course, Global Business Report here on the Rise News. This, of course, is you're watching live images from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission holding a pre-bid conference for its oil and gas licensing round here in Lagos. Let's watch.
4, to outline bid submission requirements, including portal use, documentation standards, disclosures, and compliance obligations. 5 is to highlight post-award expectations, including performance commitments, guarantees, and the regulatory approach to enforce compliance. The key messages to prospective bidders. Distinguished participants, the Commission wishes to emphasize that bid evaluation will be based on technical capability, financial strengths, and the ability to execute proposed work programs. Participants are also reminded that work program commitments are binding and form a material basis for bid evaluation and post-award oversight. Bidders are therefore encouraged to submit proposals that are realistic, that are funded and executable. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the Commission remains committed to running a fair, competitive, credible, and transparent bid process. The Nigerian 2025 license round presents a structured and orderly opportunity for investment in Nigerian upstream sector. This pre-bid conference is intended to support informed participation and to ensure that all bidders proceed based on the same information and expectations. We encourage you to engage actively during this session and take full advantage of the information and clarification that will be provided by our teams. Once again, I welcome you all to wish you a productive pre-bid conference. Thank you.
A conference in the UK. Even the Prime Minister was hardly recognized by the Queen of England. I have to tell you, the protocol list was narrowed down to like 3. And so in Nigeria, the biggest problem we have is protocols. Sometimes protocol will take more than 10 minutes and the speech will be 2 minutes. You have allocated 2 minutes to someone, but the protocol will take 10 minutes. And at the end of the day, I believe that, all of us will agree that those protocols add no value to anybody. You end up annoying more people. All of you here are leaders of the industry. And if I want to single out each of you for recognition, and I'll meet one person, I'll be in trouble. I don't want to make more enemies. I already have enough. So, ladies and gentlemen, the members of the National Assembly, who have found time to be here today, the Permanent Secretary, Minister of Petroleum Resources, the CC, NUPRC, and permit me to say distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It's a great pleasure, to join you today at the 2025 NUPRC licensing, pre-bid conference, here in Lagos. The bidding process has a robust program, which reflects our shared, commitment to transparency, efficiency, and accountability in Nigeria's upstream sector. This upcoming licensing represents a clear opportunity for investors and operators to participate in Nigeria's petroleum industry. But let me make it clear from the beginning that, look, these assets should not be taken as, mere symbols, status symbols. What I've discovered in my over 2 years as minister is that some people have had licenses for 20 years. And they're very proud, going around the world with the nicest suits and say, look, I have, a license, that had no value to their lives and to the Nigerian economy. But these licenses belong to federal government of Nigeria. We give you a license to operate within a given time frame, so it doesn't belong to you automatically. But even if you have it and you haven't done anything, what value have you added to yourself? You've ended up wasting your money, and then fooling yourself around the world saying they have a license and seeking for investors that will never come. Investors will come based on clear parameters. No investor will come because they wear a nice suit. So I want to say from the beginning that, look, these 2025 licenses shouldn't be status symbols for people to say, I have a license. No, that era should be gone and gone forever in Nigeria. In the past, we've had situations, as I said, people who have had licenses have no capacity or intention to develop them. But some of them have even been held for speculation. Let me keep them. One day somebody will come and I'll be able, to get a fortune out of it. That era, as I said earlier, is gone. Our approach today is firmly, anchored on law, the PIA. PIA, if you look at Section 73, provides that the petroleum prospecting licenses, PPLs, and then petroleum mining leases, PMLs, shall only be granted through a fair, transparent, and competitive bidding process, conducted in accordance with the Petroleum Industry Act. Its regulations, there's regulations made by NUPRC, and the licensing round guidelines issued by the NUPRC. So far, NUPRC has complied with all these extant provisions of the PIA, which are conditions precedent, to issuance of license. If you look at Section 74 of the PIA, it further prescribes that license awards must be made through an open, transparent, competitive, and non-discriminatory process, with winning bidders determined based on clearly defined financial, technical, and work program parameters. These provisions exist to promote certainty, remove discretion on the part of politicians, and attract serious, capable investors, into the sector. It's important, at this point, I think, for us to reflect on the 2020, bid round. I wasn't there, but as I came, I had obligation to solve so many problems. Following that 2020 bid round, government received several representations from, people who won those bids. Some of them came for refunds of their bidding, fees. It is clearly stated that if you go for any bid, round, the registration fee is not refundable. But some people came to my office demanding for a refund of, the bidding fee. Others also, said that, look, the blocks or the fields that were given to us were not the way we actually saw them. How is that my business? But I had to confront them. I had to say, look, if you go to a market where you have options, there were several marginal fees for you to bid. You went there, you chose a particular one, you bidded, and you won. If you go to a market and you buy a wrapper, knowing that the wrapper, is the nicest wrapper in the market, and it turned out to be, an okreka wrapper, how is that my business? I wasn't in the market when you did it, but it's your choice that you have to make. A few of these, bidders have also come to say, look, they should be given other acreages, and that, look, this one that we bid there for is not good enough, so give us another one. I want to state very clearly that, look, the petroleum industry does not provide for asset exchanges or refunds on these grounds. Once a bid is completed and an award is made in accordance with the law, the commercial and technical risk lie with the people who chose to bid for those assets. Government, under any law, has no obligation to refund your bidding fee or your signature bonus, because you found out that eventually you didn't see oil, or you only found gas. Government has no obligation. Government didn't pick those assets for you. You picked them based on the data you procured, and you bid for them. This is why, precisely, this pre-bid conference is fundamental, so that everybody is educated about how, this thing is done. It is designed to ensure that all prospective bidders fully understand the assets on the bidding table, the available data, and the applicable law, and the risks that could be involved if we choose to bid for any asset. Accordingly, as government, it is important, for me to say that government will not be providing the funds or exchanges, for any assets following this bid round. This position is not driven by any discretion. It is driven by law. The law doesn't allow government to refund any of these things. The era, of discretionary awards is also over. And post-bid adjustments is also not provided for, by the law. I therefore encourage all, participants to approach this bid process with utmost clarity, diligence, and realism. Where it is necessary for a few companies to collaborate, form, consortia, so that you can bid for one based on your technical, financial capacity, it's important that you do so. My office is inundated with cases where people who won, these awards have no money to pay signature bonuses. And they had to resort to people to pay for their signature bonuses for them. And the next thing they say, the bid is in my name, I'm the owner of the company. You had no kobo to pay for, for the signature bonus. And so I believe that if you don't have money and you have the technical skill, it's important that you form consortia with people who may have money to combine with your technical expertise, so that at the end of the day, it will be a workable business, for, everybody. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, leaders of the industry, it's important for me to assure you that in the last few years, this industry was inundated with arguments about energy transition. But it has changed. If you look at the 2025 International Energy Agency, outlook of the United Nations, and the 2025 OPEC, outlook for 2025, and several other, stakeholders, you will come to the conclusion that the world has changed from energy transition to use of all forms of energy. And hydrocarbon is still reported to be the dominant source of global energy for the foreseeable future. So when you are bidding for any asset here, be rest assured that oil and gas has come to stay. There should be no fear at all. Those proponents of energy transition have changed their mind. They have in fact concurred that, look, they were wrong. And that is why IEA of the United Nations that came up with net zero, people like Bill Gates, who were sponsors of, energy transition, have changed their mind to say, look, we need all forms of energy, more so when the world is expected to grow by another 2 billion by the year 2050, which is just 25 years. With Nigeria reported to be the third largest country in the world. I don't believe it, but let us just believe that maybe, because some people believe that Nigeria, is the only growing country, that Nigeria will be the third largest country in the next 25 years. Well, let's believe it. And this additional population will live in townships. They will live in townships where they need energy. If you go to my village, even if there's no electricity, the people are used to it. They will not bother. But if you live in a township, you need electricity. You need, fossil fuel to be able to drive your cars or to power your generator or whatever. And that is why I'm saying that, look, fossil fuel, hydrocarbon resources will never go away. They will constitute over 50% of global energy sources, for the foreseeable future. So let me conclude, by saying that Nigeria is a mature field. I was talking, to some people, and the person was telling me in South Africa that, look, Nigeria should do so much so that, investment can come the way investments went to Guyana. And I looked at him and I told him, you don't know what you're talking about. The total investment in Guyana is less than half of Bunganov. Some of you may not know. The total, this grammar of people going to Guyana, put the total investment in Guyana together, is less than half of Bunga North. So we are a matured field. And that is why people are attracted, to Nigeria. Everywhere I go to, everybody wants to come to Nigeria. And I've been working very closely with, NUPRC and the other regulators to say, look, we are going to be judged by the number of businesses we enable, not by the number of regulations that we bring out. And I'm very happy that over the last 2 years, this industry has grown so much in terms of confidence, so much in terms of investment. to an extent that the number of FIDs in Africa, we've taken practically 2/3 of them. And this didn't come by accident. It's by deliberate partnership, deliberate work that we've done over the last, 2 years. This bid round, as I said earlier, has a robust program, starting with this pre-bid conference. There'll be road shows in different parts of the world, and as part of the program, or if you are shaking your head, you say you have cancelled the road show, that is your own problem. It's your own responsibility. But the timetable I got is that we had, a program where there will be road shows to sell these blocks in different parts of the world. But whatever it is NUPRC's responsibility to direct what we should do. As minister, we have a responsibility to support whatever you are doing to ensure that we'll get the best bidders for this bid round. Let me conclude by saying that, look, know thyself is not a crime. This bid round shouldn't be business as usual. I don't see a situation where Lokobi Nigeria Limited will bid against an IOC, only 2 of us. And I will win them, and I have no money to pay signature bonus. If I can't pay signature bonus, how do I then get the billions of dollars needed to invest? And I'm being asked questions all over the world, and I have no answers. So in UPRC, you are the driver of this process. I believe that it's important for you to ensure that the best people, the best and most competent people financially, technically, are the people who win these blocks. So that we can now give them the shortest possible time in line with law to make the investments. Let me also say that, look, if you have other blocks that you have not been able to develop, why do you want to bid for more? I've also seen cases where people hold these blocks for 20 years. They haven't even invested. They have no plan to invest them. But let me also say that under the extant PIA, we are going to enforce the drill or drop principle. So that if you have an asset you are not developing, the law says that we can take it and give it to those who are ready to invest in them. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I welcome all of you to this pre-bid, licensing round conference, and I wish you the best, in this ceremony. Thank you very much, and may God bless all of you.
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for your goodwill message and establishing how important this pre-bid conference is to educating prospective bidders and investors, and also our shared mandate on transparency, openness, and integrity. Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. And we'll move right along to more goodwill messages from the legislative arm of the Federation. Please, may we welcome to the stage distinguished Senator Jariwe Agom Jariwe, who is the Chairman, Senate Committee on Gas.
Of Petroleum Resources Oil, the CCE of NUPRC, other stakeholders here present. It's my honor to stand before you to deliver this goodwill message on behalf of the Senate Committee on Gas. I'm particularly interested in this licensing round because it has taken into consideration the development of our natural gas resource. So we now have hope that the 209 SCF trillion of gas deposits will be harnessed. The PIA put together by the National Assembly has further strengthened your confidence in the oil and gas sector in Nigeria. It has provided for predictability, transparency, and fairness. On that note, I'd like to welcome all of you here and to assure you that you have the total support of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
On upstream, sir.
Chairman, Senate Committee on Gas, my colleague and brother from the other side, the Right Honorable Adogowa, Honorable Minister, my boss, my brother, my friend, CC, the brand new CC. I won't fail to recognize others, and also my chief, my brother, and our father. You're all welcome. Once again, we're back here, and I bring greetings from the Senate President and the leadership of the Senate. I will start with a little story. Oh, our boss, you're welcome. I will start with a story. We met a guy in Houston with the Honorable Minister. When we interrogated him, he said he has a marginal field in Bayelsa. And the minister said, oh, Bayelsa? Where are you from? He said he's from Bayelsa. Only for us to discover that for the past, whether 15 or 20 years, he has never been to Bayelsa, and he has a marginal field in Bayelsa. Where is the field? He mentioned the field name, but he don't know the place. Then, what intention do you have that such a person to develop this field? I'm saying this because let us not make the same mistake by giving to people that will not be ready to develop. We have a project 1 million barrels. We must achieve it. It's not time for us to play games. It's time for us to be serious. Nigeria is ready. For everybody, especially our foreign partners, we are ready. The federal government is ready. We are saying, come. You have the legislative arm to back it up. That is why we are here. We are here to give support to NUPRC, to the industry, so that we achieve our aim and goals. So that, come, let's do business in Nigeria. Let us add to what we have. The future of Nigeria depends on what we are doing today. Thank you very much.
Reflects depth, reform, and results. With over 3 decades of experience shaping strategy, regulation, and commercial outcomes across Nigeria's energy sector, please join me in welcoming the Commission Chief Executive. Okay, pardon me. Okay, so we'll take one more goodwill message. I would now like to call on Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Dogua for the next goodwill message. Apologies, sir. Okay, a round of applause for him, please. Thank you.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وصلى الله على نبي الكريم. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Honorable Minister, for you I have to mention specifically the Minister, Petroleum Oil, whom by extension is the representative of His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, please, I would like to crave your indulgence to allow me to respectfully stand on the laid down protocols. But I think before then, I will want to say, not just for fun, share with you the predicament of members of the House of Representatives in our democratic system. Predicament because people simply feel, oh, it's National Assembly, National Assembly. Oh yes, it is National Assembly. But National Assembly is involved by 2 chambers, 2 respectable chambers, with due regards and respect to my colleagues, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And these 2 chambers we call bicameral legislature. None of the chambers could operate without the other. But simply because they have what we call a red carpet in the Senate, and we have a green in the House of Reps. In any function we find ourselves, we tend to be covered. So the MC here, who is managing the event, felt, oh, we have gotten 2 senators to speak, so we don't need the members of the House of Representatives. You are wrong. It's an institution, obviously, by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course we are running a constitutional democracy. It's an institution where the two chambers operate like a VAD. And you can apparently agree with me that a VAD that has two wings to fly cannot fly if one of the wing is not working. This one can continue flipping, but it will only fly when the two wings are flipping at the same time. Sorry, that is on a lighter mood, but I'm sure the brand new CC knows that very well. The Honorable Minister, who was also a member of the institution, and still a member, once a senator, is always a senator. I still look at you as a senator, not even more of a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a very good morning to all of you here. And jealously to say, on behalf of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, GCON, Ian Zazzau, the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives, I bring to you greetings and solidarity from the Green Chambers of the House of Representatives, the House of the Nigerian people. I understand discussions going on here mainly is commercial and to do with the business aspect of the oil and gas sector, which means for those of us who are in the legislature, we may not have much to contribute. But our role here is to simply oversee, because constitutionally we have the oversight function, role, and responsibility as members of the National Assembly. So we use this opportunity to oversight, use this opportunity to hear out those of you who are operators in the oil and gas sectors, and more especially the regulators, to hear from you what are really the nitty-gritties of what this sector, a very important economic sector, holds for Nigerian economy and for the Nigerian people. From the discussions I've had so far, especially when the Honorable Minister was making his presentation, I understand that the sector is good enough for Nigeria. The only probable thing that may be lacking or lagging behind is the commitment, collective commitment and determination by the stakeholders and regulators to make this sector greater and greater and greater and greater again. So I will want to wish everyone here a very good interface. And while we are going home, I believe we have a lot of take home. This take home will help us guide the institution of the legislature to do the right thing. We are the lawmakers, as the Constitution holds for us. And while we are making laws, it does not mean we are the most brilliant people in the country. That's why we are made legislators. We rely on some of the insights we get from you, some of the contributions we have from you to come up with finer laws for the great deals of the business and the sector we are representing in the legislature. Crave your indulgence to allow me to respectfully stand on the laid down protocols. But I think before then, I will want to say, not just for fun, share with you the predicament of members of the House of Representatives in our democratic system. Predicament because people simply feel, oh, it's National Assembly, National Assembly. Oh yes, it is National Assembly. But National Assembly is involved by two chambers, two respectable chambers, with due regards and respect to my colleagues, the House of Representatives and the Senate. And these two chambers we call bicameral legislature. None of the chambers could operate without the other. But simply because they have what we call a red carpet in the Senate, and we have a green in the House of Reps. In any function we find ourselves, we tend to be covered. So the MC here, who is managing the event, felt, oh, we have gotten two senators to speak, so we don't need the members of the House of Representatives. You are wrong. It's an institution, obviously, by the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and of course we are running a constitutional democracy. It's an institution where the two chambers operate like a VAD. And you can apparently agree with me that a bird that has two wings to fly cannot fly if one of the wing is not working. This one can continue flipping, but it will only fly when the two wings are flipping at the same time. Sorry, that is on a lighter mood, but I'm sure the brand new CC knows that very well. The Honorable Minister, who was also a member of the institution, and still a member, once a senator is always a senator. I still look at you as a senator, not even more of a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to say a very good morning to all of you here. And jealously to say, on behalf of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, GCON, Ian Zazel, the Speaker of the 10th House of Representatives, I bring to you greetings and solidarity from the green chambers of the House of Representatives, the House of the Nigerian people. I understand discussions going on here mainly is commercial and to do with the business aspect of the oil and gas sector, which means for those of us who are in the legislature, we may not have much to contribute. But our role here is to simply oversee, because constitutionally we have the oversight function, role, and responsibility as members of the National Assembly. So we use this opportunity to oversight, use this opportunity to hear out those of you who are operators in the oil and gas sectors, and more especially the regulators, to hear from you what are really the nitty-gritties of what this sector, a very important economic sector, holds for Nigerian economy and for the Nigerian people. From the discussions I've had so far, especially when the Honorable Minister was making his presentation, I understand that the sector is good enough for Nigeria. The only probable thing that may be lacking or lagging behind is the commitment, collective commitment and determination by the stakeholders and regulators to make this sector greater and greater and greater and greater again. So I will want to wish everyone here a very good interface. And while we are going home, I believe we have a lot of take home. This take home will help us guide the institution of the legislature to do the right thing. We are the lawmakers, as the Constitution holds for us. And while we are making laws, it does not mean we are the most brilliant people in the country. That's why we are made legislators. We rely on some of the insights we get from you, some of the contributions we have from you to come up with finer laws for the great deals of the business and the sector we are representing in the legislature. So it is in this view that I want to say, because I could remember, the senator knows, the PIA, when it started as a private member bill, I was the chief whip of the House of Representatives. And by statutory provisions of the House, I chaired that special ad hoc committee on PIA. When it finally came up on board, at the end, during Muhammad Buhari's presidency, it came into the to the National Assembly as an executive bill. And again, I was the majority leader of the House of Representatives in the 9th Assembly. So by statutory provisions of our institutions, the leader of the House is the leader of the business of government on the floor of the House. Again, I was the chairman of the petroleum industry bill when it came from the government end. So I coordinated everything about it. So on that note, I want to say without any fear of being quoted, that the PIA as it is today does not mean that it's a perfect legislation. After all, it's human-made. If those of you in the sector, the operators, the regulators, find anything funny, or you have any impediment, something that now creates a problem or challenge to your operations, you just let us know. You can come by way of memorandum, write a memo to the National Assembly, straight to the relevant committees. The gas is there, upstream is there in the Senate, and in the House as well. Let us know where you guys are likely to have some frictions, challenges, or impediments embedded in the law. Laws are always dynamic. They are a dynamic process. Whichever piece of law we come up with, no matter how beautiful or brilliant that piece of law may be, It is work in progress. So the PIA is not just like a conclusive document. It's work in progress. And it was not cast on stone. It was not cast on stone. It is a dynamic thing that we can always review, because the Constitution holds that responsibility for us to review our legislations. And the legislative framework is meant for the good, not only for the good of the nation, but for the good of the operators yourselves and the regulators. So on a final note, Madam, I would like to congratulate you for a very good beginning. We'll continue to watch. Where you miss your steps, we blow the whistle. Where you do right, we'll clap for you. Honorable Minister, you're also on the watch. We want to assure you the commitment and determination of the National Assembly, specifically the House of Representatives, that we will be good partners in the interest of the overall interest of the people of Nigeria and our nation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, let me finally agree with you that at the end of your presentation, you said that the NUPRC, you are the driver of this process. I want to agree with the Honorable Minister. The NUPRC, through the CCE, you are the driver of the process. But as you are driving, remember you have the engineers around you, the mechanics. And these mechanics are not roadside mechanics. We are professional mechanics. Where you have the wheel balancing not working, you hear beep, beep, beep. Let us know that the balancing is not fine. We will let you know what to do about that. Where you have the engine or the carburetor jacking, and you are firing, you have an issue. Remember that you are only the driver, but not the mechanic of the car. So I wish you. So, Madam, I wish you safe drive. Thank you, and God bless the Federal Republic.
Thank you very much, Honorable Al-Hassan Ado Dogowa, House of Representatives, Chairman, Committee on Upstream. Honorable would like to sincerely apologize for the omission, and we hope the apology is accepted. Moving forward. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will now proceed to the keynote address titled Growing Upstream Investment in Nigeria Through Licensing Round, the Bid Process and Opportunities. Our keynote address will be delivered by a leader whose career reflects depth, reform, and results, with over 3 decades of experience shaping strategy, regulation, and commercial outcomes across Nigeria's energy sector. Please join me in welcoming the Commission Chief Executive of the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Mrs. Orishemeyiwa Eyeson. A standing ovation for her, please. Keep clapping, please. Keep clapping.
Thank you very much. You know, my boss has instructed no protocols. So I stand on existing protocols. Even having said that, I'm a typical Nigerian. I will still recognize my boss. And the distinguished senators and the House of Rep members here present, royal fathers, operators, and gentlemen of the press, thank you for making time out to join us at this very, very important event. I have a long speech in front of me, and I know the time is already fast spent. The minister set the tone. He said, going forward, we need to be businesslike. And when I see the faces here, I know the reason why you're here is not to listen to a long speech. You want to see what's in the package. What is it, the bid round? So I will just touch briefly so that I can make way for my colleagues to exhaustively go through the details of the speech. But having said that, I really want to welcome every one of you to this bid round. This is my first major engagement as the Commission's Chief Executive. It's really my honor, and it's really a big privilege for me to stand before you. I'm not new to the industry. We've gone through the trenches together, and I stand before you leading the Commission. You will agree with me that the Commission has made a lot of strides in the last couple of years, and it has been enabled primarily by the PIA. I said we've been in the trenches. We struggled to amend our laws for decades. We were fortunate in 2021 to have the PIB enacted. And today, we are witnessing one of the dividends of the PIA. Hitherto the PIA, we had instruments that supported block sitting. With the advent of the PIA, if you do not work your blocks, it will be taken from you. And many of the assets on offer today are recovered as fallow fields. So I think we need to appreciate the federal government and the founding fathers of the PIA for this great job that they have done for us. A round of applause, please. The introductory remark highlighted what we will be expecting to see today. One of the things that we have taken into cognizance is the feedback from the prior bidding processes. And like the minister alluded to in his remarks, people win bids, they are awarded blocks, but they do not have the wherewithal to even pay the signature bonus. We have refined the considerations, the technical and the commercial considerations to enable final award, and we will be taking you through the amendments. We also received concerns about the weighting on the technical, on the award process, where commercial seem to have skewed the technical competence. And like the minister had said, we are looking for technically competent operators to work our assets. You will also see the reflection of this in the bidding process, in the detailed presentation that will be made. Again, the minister alluded to the fact that the cost to entry was hitherto prohibitive. And we are happy to announce that His Excellency, the President of Nigeria, Republic of Nigeria, has graciously approved a revision in the signature bonus. And I think that's very, very commendable. Furthermore, we have also tweaked a number of the fees that bidders will be expected to pay prior to first oil. And we will see these reflected in the presentation. These are some of the reforms. Today we have the Tax Act, and it also ties with the reforms to enable the industry forge ahead and achieve government's objective of growth expansion, as well as economic sustainability. The Chairman Gas raised his own voice to unlocking our gas resources. The numerous incentives given for gas, I think we are beginning to see the dividends. Number of FIDs have been taken, and we believe that even that will also come to play in the bidding process that we are currently on. Ladies and gentlemen, indeed, Nigeria should be seen not just as any other destination. It should be seen as the preferred investment destination. I believe the industry today is practically demonstrating that we are moving to becoming the preferred investment destination. The number of indigenous companies that are now producers have increased astronomically. Of course, that comes with its new challenges, because as you have new small producers, you will need to evacuate, you will need to maintain those resources that you currently have, and then we now have to start thinking ahead of time to ensure that we provide the service industry to manage this. So end to end, we will come for the bid round, we will win, we will develop, but we must be sustainable. So we will continue to work together as an ecosystem. Not only the operators, the service providers, the investors as well, because you will agree that the banks are critical to the survival of this industry. Today, when you look at the NPL statistics, the banks contribute a sizable chunk. And therefore, we need to change that narrative if we want this industry to continue to survive. Because if the banking industry or the financial industry does not survive, we will not. There will be no sustainability for us. So that we will also work on. Without talking too much, and I said at the beginning that the minister had set the tone, I think we need to go straight into the business. I once again say thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for making time out. I believe the turnout for me was overwhelming this morning. I know we have a lot of people at the spillover centers. We have quite a number of people logged on online. And we'll be very happy to take your feedback. And just to reiterate that your feedback is important to the Commission. Your feedback is important to the Commission. If we are not able to make the changes to this bid round, you have our assurances that we will look into it and introduce it as appropriate in the next big round. And finally, because of the benefit of the PIA, we are now in a position to do this more regularly. This bid round was supposed to have been done in 2025, concluded in 2025. The Commission has decided that the 2026 bid round will commence almost immediately. So all the preliminary work will start in parallel with the 2025 bid round to enable us achieve finalization this year. So, ladies and gentlemen, we see a lot happening in the industry, and we want to encourage you all to participate. Participate with credible companies, with credible representations, because where you don't, then you make it difficult for us to progress. We will pull you out of the system. We will pull you out of the process. So please, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much and welcome once again to the 2025 pre-bid conference for your clarifications and more to provide you with more information. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam CCE. And like she said, we are not here for long speeches. Also, the Honorable Minister mentioned that. So we're jumping right into the technical presentations where you listen and understand the overview of the licensing process, the timeline, the bid submission, the evaluation criteria, as well as assets and data availability. All right, for the technical presentations, which after we come back, you have a chance to ask all your questions and make comments, and we'll have a very, very smart team on the stage to answer all your questions. To make the first technical presentation, please join me and welcome to the stage a director from the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission, Dr. Amba Ndoma Eba.
Good morning, our very distinguished ladies and gentlemen. As directed by my CCE, I'm to stand on the protocol that had been established. So permit me to stand on that protocol. My job is to present an overview of the bidding round process. But I'm not alone. We are a team of 4. So when I do that overview, I'll call on another of my distinguished colleagues who will take us through the legal and contracting process. Then one of my able colleagues who will equally do the fiscals. Then we will conclude with key takeaways by one of our bosses who is here present, Mr. Enya. Next slide. Wait. Okay. So the content of the presentation, as I said earlier, is the overview of the licensing round process, the license terms and model contracts. Then we'll discuss the fiscals and key takeaways. So my presentation starts with the overview of the licensing round process. These are the contents of what I'm going to discuss. We're going to talk about the licensing round objective. We'll explain the geological locations and the terrain where these blocks are. Then we will expatiate on the blocks on offer. Then we'll categorize the blocks based on data availability. We'll talk about the fees that will be required in the process. Then we go into detail about the bidding process and the requirements for bidding. That will also include the evaluation process, the pre-qualification, and the winning bid. Then I'll conclude here with the scope of the license that we are going to give out, where we will explain the process involved and what are your rights and obligations in the license that will be awarded. So, the NUPRC, pursuant to section 78 to 73 to 78 of the PIA, has the mandate to organize licensing round. And that mandate is achieved through the bidding round process. And on that note, that mandate that is achieved through the bidding round process will aim to, of course, attract investment, which will further enhance energy security. And on that note, we've now included the development and expansion of the deep water exploration and the open of the frontier areas in shallow and offshore terrains. Next slide. Now, this is the objective of the bid round. And if you can see, the bid round is, pursuant to the PIA, transparent. It's going to be organized in a very transparent manner. And the objective of that is energy security. It's going to support global energy needs. Of course, there's value creation. The bid round generates employment for our teeming populations, for our youths.
The pre-bid conference by the Nigerian Upstream Petroleum Regulatory Commission here in Lagos. The event brought together industry players ahead of upcoming licensing opportunities in the upstream sector.